your body is overcome with emotion that starts in the pit of your stomach, and it engulfs every cell of your body, and it extends from the tips of your fingers to the bottom of your toes. And this feeling moves through you, it surrounds you, and it surrounds you with warmth and tingling sensations. And the feeling is so profound that it takes your breath away, and it creates a lump in your throat, and it renders you speechless. Now, this emotion overcomes you in seconds, and when that happens, you know you want it badly enough, and it'll happen. In February of 2017, I completed the Coast to Coast in New Zealand, which is a race that traverses the South Island of New Zealand. In July of 2018, I bought my clinic, Gracela Osteopathy in Auckland. That was my first clinic. And in November, just a few months after I bought the clinic, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And ironically, I sought income protection insurance on exactly the same day that I was diagnosed. And this was a true low for me, the lowest of the lows for me. And when you're told you have cancer, all you think about is that your expiry date has become shorter than you originally expected. Now, I project managed my cancer, and I treated it as though I was training for an event. And I was training for my life. But as I gathered information from my surgeon, my oncologist, the whole process seemed a little bit more manageable in small chunks. First the mastectomy, then the chemotherapy and Herceptin treatments, and then the reconstruction surgery. So I had a checklist, and every time I achieved something, I would just check it off until one by one the list was done, and that was life with cancer. And the biggest goal that I had while I was living with cancer was to keep my family life as normal as possible. So if I could go to work, I would go to work. If I could go to the gym, I would go to the gym. And I even managed to keep the majority of my hair with a cooling cap. And I remember my younger daughter approaching and commenting to me once, saying, "Mom, sometimes I forgot that you had cancer because you were still going to work, you were still going to the gym, and you were doing everything that you usually did." So I was happy with that. Now, life during chemotherapy was a dark place. They say, and I heard that chemotherapy will kill the cancer, but it will kill so many other things in your life, and it will kill your soul. If endurance racing stripped me stripped me down to the raw version of myself, chemotherapy just was worse, was absolutely worse. Now, going through my chemo treatments, I had a routine, which made things a little bit more bearable. So I wore the same shirt every time so that the nurses could access my port easily. I made myself a smoothie. I would put on my icing cooling cap and had extra ice packs with me, and I would stick them in the freezer when I got to the hospital. I had my meditations downloaded on my phone. I had stand-up comedy downloaded on my notebook. And I think I was reading even the history of cancer. It was a book called The History of Cancer. Because 3.5 hours is a long time to sit and watch toxic junk drip into me. And I can still remember, it was my third chemotherapy session after a steroid-induced nap. I remember just watching the chemo drip into me. And I thought, oh my God, I need to do something about this to prevent my body from deteriorating. And so I thought, okay, so do I do another marathon? Can I run another marathon? No, I couldn't, because the chemo would have likely damaged my bones and probably made them very fragile. So running another marathon was not possible. Then I thought maybe I could do an endurance swim in New Zealand. But I had just had a mastectomy 2 months ago, or 2 months prior to that. So that was also out of the question. And then I thought, I'm still going to the gym. I'll do a bodybuilding competition. Why? Because I want to. I wanted to, and because I still could. I had 12 weekly rounds of chemo, and with each one, I marked it off the calendar, and I was really excited. I grew excited knowing that I had a goal to look forward to. I started training 2 weeks after my last Herceptin treatment. I wore a baseball cap to the gym because I had lost quite a bit of hair, and I started wearing a wig in my last few months of my chemo treatment. And as my hair was growing back, I wore the wig to my office, to my clinic, because I just did not want to look sickly to my patients. The lingering tingling and the numbness feeling of the chemo symptoms gradually faded. And with each day, I felt the warmth of gratitude to the universe that was the card that I was dealt, because it could have been so much worse. There were 7 months from the time that I finished my last treatment to the time that I competed in my first bodybuilding competition. And since then, I have continued to reinvent my life and not taking anything for granted. You know, crossing the finish line in a race isn't always about the finish, because every step of that journey is so valuable. The highs and the lows give meaning to our experiences, and the highs are only valuable because of the lows. So it's been 2.5 years since my diagnosis, and I'm in the process of competing in my third bodybuilding competition. And if I can share with you some thoughts to be mindful of when you are trying to achieve your goals, it is these. Have hope, be courageous, and live with determination. And if you want something, if you want it to happen, let it resonate through you. Because when you want it, you'll find the strength to persevere. When you don't want it, they become chores, and chores never get done. Break the goal down into small, achievable milestones so that the little successes keep inspiring you to continue. And you know what? Cry. Cry when you need to, cry because you want to, but also remember to smile along the way, because when you smile, and despite the hardships, there's something physiological happens in your brain that ignites positivity, and you behave accordingly. So thank you for letting me share my story. I have truly enjoyed telling you my story.